Today I'm doing a much requested video. It is a tour of my garden, such as it is at this point in May. Hi and welcome back to my channel. I'm Patty and this is my handmade lifestyle. You can find me everywhere online as Patty Mac Knits, but here on YouTube I go by my handmade lifestyle. And I do that because I like to include lots of things on this channel for your viewing enjoyment. I am a master gardener for the city of Virginia Beach, and what can I say? I love plants. I'm actually realizing that I probably have a little bit of a problem, but there are worse things I could be doing than plant collecting, right? I think so. I doubly hope that you enjoy this video, which is just a little peek at what's going on in my garden. It's kind of early. It's not done. It's not where I want it to be. But you know what? I'm going to show it to you anyway so that you can just kind of see where things are. I thought it might be fun to film like a garden progress video once a month throughout the summer. And right now it's early, so let's see what's going on. We have aircraft going over, so I'll be right back. I live by Oceana here in Virginia Beach, and that is the master jet base for the East Coast. So I get a lot of jet traffic. It's just part of life. I grew up with it. I'm used to it, so it's fine. And you know, I'm from a Navy family, so you know, go Navy. I'm super into our men and women who serve. I never did. I didn't feel like I was really cut out for that. It takes a lot of a different kind of discipline than what I have, let's just say. But okay, back to the garden. Here it is. So for my gardening practice, I put in this little 10 by 10 space. I put down landscape fabric, I put pea gravel over top of it, and mostly what I do is in pots, and that is because my natural soil is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. It's impossible. So I had to kind of craft my own garden space to get anything to grow, and it does pretty well. I'm certainly happy with it. It's getting to be all that I can manage, so I know it doesn't seem like much, but it is a lot of work to keep it up. It gives me a lot of enjoyment to sit on my patio in the evening and have my dinner and look at this beautiful view. I grow mostly flowers and herbs, and that makes me happy, and that's what I do. I'm not a vegetable gardener. Vegetable gardening is a whole other thing. I don't do that. We have so many good little farm stands and farmers markets that are open through the week, most of the year here, because we still have a very large farming community. So I buy most of my stuff from them in season, and I just do flowers and herbs. But the butterflies and the bees like it, and you know, the fresh herbs are good in the cooking. I do grow a lot of tomatoes. I'm obsessed with tomatoes. Okay, let's look at what I've got. I found this house literally 6 years ago this summer. It's almost to the 6-year mark. And my hometown is here in Hampton Roads. I lived in Virginia Beach a lot of my life. I grew up in Chesapeake on a small farm. My dad was like an incredible gardener. So I come by it naturally, I guess. I feel like the compulsion to have the plants is probably from him. And I think he would like what I'm doing. When I found this house, it was a train wreck. It was worse than a train wreck. It was a disaster. And The spot where I put my little garden area was this hideous, rotting, nasty, horrible deck that you had to step up 3 steps to get to, so it blocked the entire view of the backyard. It was awful. So I had them take that out, and I was left with a poorly graded patch of soil that just would do nothing. It was bad. So I wound up just covering it up. And I actually really like how this has come out. And let me show it to you. I really like how the English call everything they do outside gardening. So it's not that they're doing yard work, they're gardening. I think that sounds way better than saying, I have to go out and do yard work. That sounds awful, doesn't it? And then it was funny. I looked up definitions. I do that a lot. And yard came up as like meaning prison yard, so that's what that's really associated with. So it's like the common area in the prison, and I was like, that's not a good name for what you call the greenery surrounding your home. So it's my garden. That's what I'm going with. Behind me I've got huge azalea that I have to trim way back, and this is my boxwood. I've got a couple of boxwoods. They are doing really well, and those things are very expensive. Just north of here is Colonial Williamsburg, and they lost tons of boxwoods in the last couple of years due to boxwood blight. Very sad. Some hedges were hundreds of years old, and they had to take them out because they were full of blight. And you know how it came in? Some lady bought boxwood cuttings that were probably cheap from a company that imported. They were in Portland. Anyway, it was full of blight. She put that stuff all over her house to decorate for Christmas, and then it started infecting all of the plants, and they lost so many hedges. And it's very sad because once a plant like that is gone, it's gone. And anyway, that's my boxwood. My boxwood is probably, I don't know, 8.5, 9 feet tall. So this area is like in the very, very front of my house. And last year, this is what I called my pollinator garden. And I expanded it a little bit this year. And the way it got started was I had 2 dead trees removed, and it left 2 like gaping holes in my yard. In my garden. Hold on, we have cars. It left 2 gaping holes in my front garden, and rather than just putting grass seed and go with more turf, I decided to try and see what would happen if I put flowers. And not only did it look beautiful, I had really amazing success in terms of bee and butterfly populations visiting the garden, and I wound up registering it as part of the 1 million pollinator garden challenge. And you can do the same if you look that up online. I'll give you a link to that. And yeah, I've added to it. I made it a little bit bigger. I added the edging, and it's full of seeds. Oh my goodness, I have planted so many things and I'm just so anxious for all of it to come in. It's so hard to be patient on seeds, but let me show you what is happening in here. I just added the Asiatic lilies and the foxglove. I got those yesterday. Again, Home Depot. I don't know. I usually don't like to buy from them, but I have to say these were just beautiful. And the foxglove will attract hummingbirds, which I get here. When we moved in, this front was just a scrubby, horrible mess. It's just unbelievable. So we had somebody come and put in this little flower bed looking thing that just basically enclosed the trees. The peony plants were there, believe it or not. But I planted the other stuff, and those big fluffy looking things are all daylilies, and they do really well here. And they come back every spring, and they just are getting huge, which is what I wanted. So they'll totally fill in, and they bloom all summer long, and they have yellow orange flowers on them, and I just really love them. So if lilies grow where you are, and they grow pretty much everywhere, these are great because they will fill in a space, and it decreases the maintenance, and that's kind of what I'm about, is decreasing the maintenance. This garden sign was my dad's, and I love having it here. I'm going to go ahead and repaint it this spring. You can see like all the colors worn off, so yeah, I'll do that as a project and get it painted for the new season, because it needs to be repainted. It's such a nice thing. And you can see my peonies are starting to bloom. And here's my bird bath, and the birds love this bird bath. Oh my goodness, they love it. And we'll just come around. Oh, and there's a little birdie right now. On this side of the tree, you can see I've got this really pretty feeder. I got that on super discount sale at Plow and Hearth, and I super regret not buying the second one that was there, because that was only like $10. And I absolutely love this thing. It was regular priced like $35, so getting it for $10 was a good deal. And I really wish I'd gotten the second one, because they don't have these anymore. And it's just so pretty. It sparkles when the light hits it. And the birds really do like it. Also, the squirrels really like it. But anyway. And this is new. This little suet feeder. Also, the squirrels like that. Working the way down the tree, I've got this little, it's like a bee hotel is what they call it. And you can see that some of it's in use. They where the little holes are plugged up, that's because little insects have gotten in and made a little nest or something. I don't entirely understand what it's for, but they are using it. It has not been used before, so I'm really excited to see that they've nested in there. And you can see there's little birdies. Let's swing around. There's the blooms on the lilies. And okay, down here I just planted this. It's a gardenia cutting. You can see it's about to bloom. This is a cutting that I took from my plants in the back, and I just let it live in a pot all winter, and it put out really good roots, and now it's in the ground. So yay! It'll be a really pretty bush in the front. The peonies will bloom, but then they'll die back. And as they die back, then I'll have my really pretty gardenia down here. Gosh, sorry about the lighting. I meant to get up earlier and do this, but you know how that is. Oh, let me show you something about peonies. Okay, this is not the greatest shot in terms of exposure and all that, but I want you to see how on this bloom there are ants everywhere, and there's a reason for that. With the peonies, they have a very tightly closed blossom, and the ants get onto the blossom, and it's like a sticky, sweet substance. And so the ants will get onto the flower bloom, and they eat the substance, and it allows the peonies to open their blooms. So that's why you always have ants in your peonies. And it's one instance where the ants are actually a good thing with the plants, but not too many of them, right? Yeah, so if you cut peonies, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to submerge them in like an ice bath, and that will help to get the ants off the flowers before you put them on the table, because otherwise you're going to just be infested with ants on your table, and that's not really generally what we're going for if we're having like a luncheon or something. On my front porch now, and you can see I have this really pretty sculpture. Got that last year at Plow and Hearth. I'm standing here because now the light is higher in the sky. It's hard to get a decent exposure, so I'll just talk to you from here. Let's see, I would like you to see plants though. Yeah, as is always the case, I had a lot more to share than I realized, and yeah, way more to share than I realized, and I hope that you were able to get through that whole video, because oh my goodness, I didn't realize it was so much. So that's the check-in, such as it is, for today in May of 2019, and yeah, that's what I have going on in my outside gardens. And I'll do another video and show you the houseplants, because I'm starting to bring them outside, and this over here is going to get an intense haircut because it's out of control. So that'll be something else to look forward to. Maybe not as much for the plant, but for the rest of us, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and stick around and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything, and I'll see you in the next video.